Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of City Sim Builds. In the previous part of this episode, we built this really huge interchange, and this is going to serve us into the future as we expand over this way. And then the other thing that we did was we created another interchange over here by the bridge and developed this industrial district and a public works campus. Since we created this interchange, we have been having a lot of traffic problems, and that is something I want to address right off the bat. But later on in the episode, what I want to do is relocate the lumber industry up here north of where the city is currently. And then what this is going to do is allow us to also redevelop this area to add in more residential and commercial. But with that, let's jump into today's episode. And the first thing I want to do over here is build another interchange. And what I'm going to do is build a partial cloverleaf interchange. And I think that's going to help serve some of our truck traffic over here. And truthfully, I think I'm going to redo some of this interchange here and maybe just have one off ramp and one on ramp. So to get the partial cloverleaf in place, I think what I'm going to do is build an underpass here. So to get that in, I'm going to add in a new arterial route. And this is going to come up over this way. Let's get rid of this road segment for just a little bit. And then I do know I want to meet up somewhere about in here. I'm going to come off a few units here like this, and then we're going to use our curved road tool, find that guideline, and line up like that. And then now that I have this in place, I'm going to remove this section of the highway just for a moment, as well as the rail. And then so down here, I want to decrease to roughly the next major contour down there, and then let's get a smaller brush size, grab something like that, and then do something about like that. And I think I need to back this off a little bit more, and we'll come back and fix this in a second. And I just want to make sure that I have enough clearance here that it will place a bridge, and it looks like we don't. So I think we need to go down a little bit further. So we're going to try for down here. So we'll right click and then level the terrain through here. Okay, so it looks like that will work. It's just a matter of getting the bridge in the right place. And we're going to come back and fix some of this earthwork here in a second. But now that I have this piece down here, I do want to slope from here to over here. And I could have used the gravel roads to plan with, but we have plenty of money right now, even though we're currently losing money. And I think that's a function of all this traffic right here. A lot of different goods and things are not getting to where they need to be, but we're going to work on that here in a little bit. So let's go back over here to our sloping tool, and we're going to right click here and then create a curve that comes up about like this. And I think we can do something similar over here. So I'm going to right click at the edge of the map and then come up like that. All right, that's looking good. Then here we're going to grab our curved road tool and come up and find that guideline again and make that connection. And then on this side, I think I'm just going to continue this straight for the time being. So to fix the terrain here, I'm going to increase the brush size and just flatten out in general through here. I think that looks pretty good. In some of these areas, I might see if I can soften the terrain a little bit. All right, so now I want to get the highway reestablished first. So let's see if we can roughly come here, meet up with that guideline and tie in like that. And then we'll do a similar thing there. All right, that's looking good. Now some of the traffic that spawns off the map can now come back over here. So I really want to be mindful of how this partial cloverleaf is going to work. So what I'm thinking is we're going to have one curve that comes down this way, and then the other one that goes this way, then have an on-ramp on this side, and then have another on-ramp on this side. And the reason I want to do that is if I remove maybe this ramp and this ramp, these two loop ramps, it'll basically replace that. So trucks and other amenities that are coming from over here, and there's just a wave of unhappiness. I don't understand what the deal is with that, but interesting. But we'll come back and take a look at that. I think there's some trash problems, but I'm not sure why there was such a huge wave of unhappiness. But getting back to the ramps, goods and whatnot produced over here can get over to the main part of the city faster if they have a direct ramp that comes this way, and then vice versa. Trucks and goods coming from the city can take the main interchange up here, then come down and use the loop ramp and better access the industrial area as well. So for this, I think I'm going to have to back this off to the edge of the map first. And then we're going to use our planning roads for this exercise. So I'm going to find this spot and then come down 10 units. And then from here, I want to create our little box of a 5 by 5. And I think that was too much. Let's back that up. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we're going to get rid of that connection and leave those two for the time being. And actually, I might bring the box down here a little bit. Let's find this midpoint here and then create our box from here. Then let's try and get the loop in place. And I think for this, I'm just gonna bring it down straight to there. And we'll get rid of these sections. And then, so for over here, I'm gonna make this portion a 2-lane section to about here. And I changed up the cross section here just to allow for a little bit additional capacity in the future if we need it. But then coming off the highway here, we can have just a regular highway ramp. Then sort of the same thing here. Then I'm curious if I come over 5 units, and come over 5 units, if this will allow me to create a curve section. Yeah, and the game does not like that. So I think instead what I'm going to do is have this section be like that. And then we'll just connect up like that at a 45-degree angle. And I think that should be good. So let's get this upgraded to a highway on-ramp. And so I want to do the same thing on this side. And so from here to here, that's 260. Find a similar node, and come out to 260. We'll use this as a marker. Let's get rid of that segment. Then what I'm going to do over here is come over to that midpoint segment right here and then jump over. Then come down 5 units. Then come over another 5 units. Then that will tie in nicely there. And just to have the reference point, we'll put that there for the time being. So we'll tie up with that, get rid of that segment, then tie in there. Then here, we should be able to make this curve around and meet up like that. So come over 5, then come up 5. Then here, we'll get rid of that segment for the time being. And that is, I just realized this is a very steep slope. So I think what I'm going to do is back this off a little bit and let's slope through here and make a better connection. And we're going to have to do the same thing on this side. So for here, let's come out, I think this is 15 units and we'll come down like that. And I know I want to get a curve that goes down and does something like that. So let's use our slope tool, grab this elevation, and then bring in something that comes along like this. And what we can do to keep this spot over here is just put a little stub like that, and then get rid of that section. So from here, let's get our curve road tool, find that guideline, and we'll meet up. And that's a much more gentle curve. Yeah, I'm good with that. So we can do the same thing over here. So when you come out and you see like it meets up like that, where you have these 2 perpendicular lines to what I'm drawing, you know that the midpoint here is 5 and this is 10. So I'm gonna come out to here, that's 5. And then we'll meet down here like this, and we'll just put a little stub like that. Then now we can use our guidelines to tie into over here. But first we need to slope. So we'll grab this elevation, and then we'll come up from down this way, get a nice gentle curve that goes up. Then we'll use our curved road tool, find that guideline, and tie up like that. Excellent. And then here, just to get something symmetrical to over here, at least hopefully I'm gonna come out 5 units. We'll come over 5 units and see if we can tie up with the highway. About like that. All right, that looks pretty good. So let's upgrade the roads through here. So we have off and on, and we have off and on. That makes sense. Then we'll come back over here and we'll get our 2-unit 4-lane road, and we'll upgrade these sections right here. All right, great. That's looking really good. And now that that is taken care of, I'm going to remove these ramps and see what happens. And truthfully, I wasn't really happy with how this area turned out. I think having this in place will be fine. I might come back and adjust these ramps here in a little bit. So the next thing we need to do is fix our rail, and this is going to be kind of tricky through here. So one thing we are going to need to do is increase the height through here. because this is going to have to go up and over all of this. And unfortunately, since I don't have this tile over here, I'm going to have to make sort of a janky connection, but we can get things set up for the future where it won't be as bad. And I know this does not look the best, and we're going to come back and fix this, but what it will do is provide some functionality for us. This is already starting to behave the way I wanted it to. We are definitely getting a lot of backups here, and let's provide a little bit more of a connection down this way. And now we have this major traffic issue to contend with. Maybe this interchange is just not a good idea. Maybe I'll just see if I can get rid of it for the time being. Let's see what that does. So we have a lot of traffic coming in now over here. I'm gonna let this run for a little bit, and then we'll see how things kind of progress. That seems like things are working way better, and that is exactly what I was looking for. I do think we have some traffic signals that I want to get rid of through here. So let's take a look at our junctions. Let's get rid of that signal, this one, and this one. And for right now, we'll just use stop signs, and that should be good. And I'm going to provide another connection for this area. And so what I'm going to do here is provide a one-way connection in like that, and then a one-way connection out. That'll help our traffic throughout here as well, but this will allow garbage trucks, which I think is an issue over here in town, although it seems to have resolved itself a little bit. That's good. All right, so I want to free up this land here where the Canarsie Lumber Company is, and we have an option of placing it over here, or we have the option of maybe starting it over here. I'm kind of leaning towards placing it over here now that I think about it, because what that will do is focus some of our industries over here, with the future ore industry being right here whenever we can purchase that tile. And I might relocate the Canarsie farm over here as well. So yeah, I'm going to use this area over here as the basis for our lumber company transfer. Yeah, and things over here are just operating way better. Okay, I'm very pleased with that. So over here, what I'm going to do is find roughly the midpoint here and build a stub out like that. And I know we're going to have some sort of road that comes across like this, most likely. So I'm going to put that there. So we'll stub this out. Let's bring this out a little bit further. Let's say to there. We'll bring this down and we'll create a connection like that. So looking back over here, we need to relocate a lot of these buildings. But the first thing that I want to do is paint an industry area. And yes, this is finally working. I don't know what the deal was and why this would not paint an industry area. But it's working now, and I'm very happy with that. So the way this is going to work is we're going to focus most of the tree farming industry over on this side where there's heavy forest, and then up here is going to be more of like the sawmill and industrial production areas. So for now, I'm going to bring this straight back to about here. I think that will be fine. And we need to find our main building, and here it is. Let's relocate this. Actually, let's build a new one. That'll make the transfer of all these facilities a little bit more seamless. It's still going to be some growing pains for this area, but I think it'll be okay. So for the main building, I'm going to find an area probably somewhere in here. It's a good buffer between like where you don't have really any trees to where you have densely populated trees over here. So I think maybe somewhere in here would be a good spot for that. So popping into our industries tab, let's build a new forestry main building, and we'll put it here and load it on the side road. And that named it the Cherry Wood Production, but we're going to rename it the Canarsie Lumber Company here in a little bit. So what I'm going to do is start relocating some of the tree farms over there. We'll start moving some of the more industry focused buildings over there. And currently we do not have water and power over here. So what I'm going to do is extend this line and bring it over towards the lumber company. All right, it looks like we need to run water over here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that in place. All right, so I'm going to keep on keeping on with the transference of the lumber company. All right, and I think that has the bulk. Yeah, it has all of the production side of things. So now I'm going to relocate some of these other buildings. All right, and I think that has everything covered. This is elder care. This is a firehouse. I think this is another firehouse. And I think I'm gonna get rid of the cargo train terminal here. We're just gonna focus things over here on passenger rail. So we need to add in some water. And I think I'm gonna upgrade this road to another 4-lane facility up to the main building here. And then for inside, we can use this small industrial road. We'll see how that works. All right, and I think that has things covered. And we're already at level 4, which is great. So back over here, let's get rid of this old industrial area. And then over here, we can call this the Canarsie Lumber Company. And we definitely do need fire protection over here. So I think I'm gonna place this maybe along here. Let's extend this road to there. And we also probably need police. I'm actually gonna move this down to here, but have it load on the side. If you look at the fire coverage, it looks pretty decent through here. So I think that'd be good. I might add a fire watchtower, maybe right here. That will help things out as well, especially if fires catch in the forest over there. It'll hopefully help things out a little bit. And for doing that, we definitely need one of these fire helicopter depots. So I'm gonna place this closer down here. And I think for the time being, I'm gonna leave it over here, because that way helicopters can come get water from the river and then make their way either over here or anywhere else in town that might need it. So we have a legacy roadway network in here. I do want to keep some of this though. I think what I'm going to do is get rid of this connection, back this up a little bit, maybe get rid of this, and get rid of these smaller connections through here. And then I want to provide a connection that snakes through these buildings here and meets up right there, and have it continue on this way. So let's find this cross section. It looks like it had bike lanes and sidewalks. So this is going to break our path here, but that's okay. So I'm going to find this point and see if I can create a curved connection over like that. And we'll back that up a little bit. Then let's tie up like that. And I'm not a fan of that connection. Let's see if we can back this up and then have this be a much more gentle curve. Yeah, like that. That's good. And then through here, we'll extend this like that. And then I think we can meet this back up like that as well. And I'm gonna finish gridding out the rest of this area. For our firehouse, I'm gonna relocate this to be more centrally located. Let's move this to be right there. And then I think I'm gonna take this one and move it to about there. And then I don't think we need this street here. Have some longer block sizes that kind of mimics what we have over here as best we can. And I think we can get rid of that one. Then let's extend this down to here. And it's nice when things line up the way you want them to. Okay, perfect. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. So let's take a look at our industrial area. This seems to be functioning pretty well. I'm going to add a little bit more industrial over here before we finish out this section. And down here, I do want to kind of reconsider what I've done because I want to leave space for a cargo harbor or two. So let's turn back on the terrain. So I want to leave this space over here for future harbor usage. So I'm going to tie this road into here now. And I do know I have like a mismatch of cross sections in here, and I'm going to try and take care of that in a second. Then actually I'm going to reconsider that because I want there to be not as many connections to the arterial here. The more access points you have to the arterial, the worse your traffic is going to be. That's why this partial cloverleaf works pretty well. I might for the time being get rid of the stop sign. And that should help take care of some of this action here. And then I think I've created some signals through here, so I'm going to fix that as well. Yeah, so we'll just make these stop signs. And again, we're going to need fire coverage through here, so I'm going to place a firehouse right there. And I think we need one over here somewhere. Maybe this would be a good spot here along the coast. And then, so through here, I can zone industrial use. And let's get water in place as well. All right, perfect, perfect. All right, taking a look back at the forestry industry, this is doing very well. I think power is jumping. It's almost jumping. Okay, so I'm gonna place a couple more large tree sapling fields. Maybe we can line these up like this. Then let's see if we can get rid of this transmission line. Excellent, we're gaining students at the university. That's good. And we're back at level 5 with the Canarsie Lumber Company. All right, so looking back over here, let's get some residential and commercial in place. We've taken care of our industrial demand, and we have commercial and residential demand now. That is the main priority with our RCI over here. So I think I'm gonna put in a little section of commercial right here in the middle. Then here we're gonna add residential. And I wanna make sure I get a few schools in before things fully fill in. We definitely need probably an elementary school or two, and probably a high school here in the middle. And let's add in a public library. Police coverage, we should be fine. Medical coverage, we could probably stand to have another medical clinic, maybe over here. And then death care, I think it might be nice to have a cemetery. Let's have a cemetery about over here like that. And development is already starting to grow in here, and things are shaping up nicely. And traffic is not too bad. We do have this little area over here, but that's to be expected with all the industrial demand. I do want to see if I can get in another just off-ramp and on-ramp over here. And we have a lot of wrong way movements here, so let's get this upgraded to a one-way highway ramp. Okay, excellent. And then I'm gonna let this run for a second and see how this area resolves itself, or hopefully it does resolve itself. All right, and I think things have improved a little bit, but one thing I am noticing is trucks and whatnot are coming this way and taking this part of the cloverleaf and then trying to go back into the city, and that's not at all what I want them to do. So I want to make this a priority road, and let's see if that helps things out a little bit. And this is where mods come in handy, because you could say you can't take a left here. All right, and maybe this is not the best idea. All right, so we're getting some slowdowns here. Let's take a look at our lane mathematics. So let's reduce this section to 2 lanes. Then here we can, over the bridge, we can leave it as 3 lanes. And then we can make this section 2 lanes. Well, maybe not. We'll come back to that in the future. And it looks like we have a weaving issue here. Yeah, so I'm wondering if this is maybe not the best idea. Let's get rid of these ramps. We'll revisit that in the future. And we're having traffic backups over here, but I was expecting that to happen. I think that will resolve itself once we can purchase this tile over here and add this highway in over this way, then have another interchange about here somewhere. So there does seem to be a pretty major slowdown through here. And we have 6 lanes here. I think I'm gonna upgrade this to 6 lanes and see if that helps with our traffic capacity. And I do want to make this a priority road as well. And that looks good. And I'm not sure why this is doing this stopping situation here. I think that is definitely causing a lot of issues. Yeah, and I think we're just going to have a future episode where we look at the traffic a little bit more in depth, but I think one of the things I might do is add a cargo train terminal somewhere over here or somewhere over here. I think that might be a good thing for satisfying some of the industrial truck traffic that is coming out of the lumber company, as well as this industrial area. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please think about doing so. That would be really, really awesome and really help me out. Also, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below. That also really helps me out. But I'm looking forward to seeing you all back here in Canarsie, which is our tutorial city. But until the next episode, I hope y'all are doing well, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.